Alright, episode 11. Why episode 11? Because the other episodes were not released yet by Disney. Don't know why. Alright, let's get going. I am also kind of getting my voice a bit lower, just because, just in case if the volume's still too loud, but also it's not exactly good time apparently. I thought it was good time. This is my third time recording, of course. And of course, just a little bit after watching this episode, I have mixed feelings about it, but overall it's technically good and a lot of good things for like power scaling if you guys are even interested in that. We basically start off the episode with basically a kind of a hero montage, hero training montage. The rest of the miraculous orders are training to not be transformed. Just like how Ladybug, Cat Noir, they had the experience and basically the knowledge of the transformations that they can actually control it to a point where now the time limit is null and void. Now it's time for the others to train that. And yes, the others still had that weakness, so now they're training to basically get rid of the time limit. And according to this episode, it might have been a few days or maybe a few weeks because episode 10, 9, or 8 were not released yet, so I don't know if this training montage was a few episodes or just now and there was a time skip. I don't know. But in the end, they all succeed. So now they all have basically the ability to not de-transform thanks to time limit. Now the only thing they can de-transform is literally just the removal of their miraculous, but you know, I think they're actually good enough to not have those taken away from them. A side note, there was also one line where basically akumatization could actually de-transform them, so they also had to fight that one. So that's another thing that could happen, but because of this training, it seems like they have some resistance to it, which is good. And the episode title, Revelator. And you might be surprised why are they in their swimsuits? Well, they're at the beach with their boyfriends, of course. Just a beach day. And Alya is just, looking at her oldish but kind of recentish like news stuff, just so that all the heroes are basically doing their hero duties, not just stopping akumatizations or akumatized villains, but they're also helping just the normal everyday people, like rescuing cats, helping people cross the street or stuff like that. Alya is a little upset by this, as she has to basically share like half-truths or something like that. Since she is a superhero, Marinette remind her that she cannot tell the whole truth or people would know that she is a superhero. Alya knows for the better, but it is basically irking her. Marinette did ask that does she regret being a superhero? The answer is no. And now we cut back to basically Adrien and Nino just basically getting ice cream, and possibly for their girlfriends as well. Adrien gets a lot of people just telling him that they're sorry for his loss, his dad was a hero, and one guy wished that hopefully Adrien one day is on the big screen. Get it? Because Captain Adrien was a movie character. Get it? But it does actually bring Adrien's mood down. So when Adrien and Nino's ice cream fell to the floor because it was too hot outside, this one random person who is a fan of this couple basically gave them the ice cream because it's Adrien and Marinette's actually pretty cute with him, and that's about it. A little weird, honestly. Of course, Nino and Alya kind of make fun of them, but puns be puns. It does consider a laugh, basically. So they're having a good time basically at the beach. Then we cut back to the bakery, and it doesn't seem like the situation is really good. It seems like the parents are receiving hate calls from some strangers, even across the world. And outside the shop, there were some graffiti on their buildings for the hate message. Marinette does ask what's going on, and the parents were hesitant to tell her, but eventually she will know because it's the internet, so they show her the video. Apparently, this guy right here named Vincent's Secret, I really hate the name, but technically it's a double thing. First off, the name. If you guys already know me, or if my friends are actually watching this, you would know why maybe I'm a bit uncomfortable with the name. But Vincent's Secret is just a play on Victoria's Secret, but except for lingerie, it's just basically celebrity gossip, which is news. And this guy, in his videos, he's spreading fake news, giving only half truths with basically bombastic, clickbait titles. Now, the screenshot and the next one I have is just kind of uncanny because it makes it feel like it's a video game cutscene, but like in the high budget sense, like an Overwatch cutscene for some reason. But yeah, Marinette is just flabbergasted with all the fake news surrounding her and Adrian. I think you know where this is actually going for and what Disney with this episode is trying to discuss about. And while it is a little uncomfortable, it is unfortunately true on how things go. But we do have to look at both sides to it. We'll get to that eventually. After basically Alya and Marinette call Adrian, they have a three-way face cam, face call, something with the iPhone. But it's kind of strange that I don't think having a video thing like this is possible. But it is pretty neat. I'm hoping that one day we have something like this on our phones. It would be pretty nice. FaceTime, that's what it's called. Marinette and Adrian were kind of pretty naive, as Alya would put it. They think that if they talk to this influencer guy, maybe they can clear up some things. But I am editing sample here. So basically, I was thankful to get some of the original stuff working, but the rest of the review is missing. I don't know what happened. So I'm gonna do a review for the rest of the episode. I remember where I last took off, but I will maybe put a new sentence over it. So yeah, that's why you see a black screen here. This is just future editing me. So back to the video. Yeah, Alya is just warning them because this is an influencer. He's not gonna really listen to them. Also, the influencer is adult. These are teenagers, basically spreading these false news and stuff like that. She has a very hard time believing that he would ever do something like this, because if the guy was doing all this fake news, why would he listen to the truth? But they decide they still need to, because it is technically the right thing to do, because the truth needs to be out there. After discussing with the parents, they were a little pushback, but with the dad agreeing to go, they go. And Marinette spent the night basically looking at these fake videos. I mean, you would too if something false about you, false drama about you was up in the internet. You would have to look at it just to see what there it is and what your response to it is. But you can tell that she is basically a little sleepless. Maybe it's been a few days. The time has come, and Adrian and Marinette were talking to Vincent's Secret, and you can see that he's not really too invested in this because he feels like he has other better things to do. Now, there is his side of the story. He says that the reason why is because, well, the stuff that he said is basically just questions. The false accusations were all questions, and to his defense, it is technically true. And he did say that it is up to the viewer's interpretation. That is technically true in a way of arts, but in terms of this, you're technically giving them news, but yet you put questions into the news, and the questions made it out to look like that they're in a negative light, basically all these negative things. But also he uses these flowery language, the flower language of negativity, in another positive light. She casts Adrian under a spell. Basically, to the audience, it's much more like manipulation and just control over the entire relationship. Like Adrian has nothing to say in this relationship, which is not true. We all saw throughout the season and seasons past that this is definitely not true whatsoever. But the guy was more so just flowery language. It just means that Adrian is under her spell because their love together for each other was too strong, right? True. Unfortunately, the way he said it makes it super negative, leading for the audience, his audience, his follower base to basically just get the wrong message. But he sees no problem with that. After them agreeing with, of course, Marinette's father and the bodyguard for Adrian, they allowed them to have an interview to clear everything up. And it seems like Vincent here got the memo. But no, just like Tommy Innit, he basically just fabricated almost the whole thing. I'm kidding, I'm sorry, it's a bit harsh. More like Jake Paul. Kind of just like edit some stuff to feel like it was like an apology and just kind of doing some fake mumbo jumbo here and there. The reason I'm saying something like those types of situations is because of this. This is what Disney's trying to basically say about influencers abusing their influencing power to their audience, spreading mostly misinformation or spreading the correct information but literally just delivering the wrong tone that's needed to spread the news. What he could have done is basically tell the truth and basically say it in a serious matter, but he makes it over dramatic and basically changes most of his statements or evidence into dramatic tension drama feeling phrases. What you could expect for people who are influencers. And while this might be a fun tactic for most people, once you're in the time when you have to spread news or some information like that, if it's not for entertainment purposes, like pure entertainment purposes, if it was like just spreading news, this is the exact wrong thing to do. But that's what he does just to get the views. Basically try to feed people's negativity and get people to support them, and therefore getting views from it because, hey, you seem smart, you seem to know your thing, we'll follow you, and we believe what you said is true, even though it is not. This is basically Twitter, but it's Instagram or Snapchat or something of the like, whatever this is, or YouTube Shorts, I don't know. After editing all that, he basically just cuts, pastes, and edits to make it seem flow nicely, but all the things that they said was taken out of context, and now people hate Marinette more than ever. While I don't have any screenshots of the people greeting like Marinette and Adrian, it is funny to say that most of what they said is exactly what the Miraculous haters say. At least there's some jabs to that. It's really uncomfortable to hear because we're almost to that territory where I think Disney thinks that Miraculous is about the same popularity as like My Little Pony for G4. Now for MLP G4, it makes sense because there was an episode for that and it was like making fun of them because even the fandom was basically in on a joke, and they were fine because the fandom was like that. Miraculous is not that. Even though it is technically more popular, the audience who actually pay attention to its own community is a bit niche. So this is kind of upsetting. And I feel a little uncomfortable because it only shows the bad side. And while we do get to the good side, that, all that, it doesn't show both sides, it only shows one side. Technically, MOP does that too. But the characters show the good side of it. The characters in this do not show the good side of the community because they're in character for the most part. Like that one episode. If My Little Pony fans are out there, if you know that episode, what I'm talking about, you know. Alya has a plan. Marinette just does not like it. Alya's plan is to basically use her powers to basically illusionize herself as a different person. But Alya did manage to get a interview, quote unquote, with Vincent, and Vincent basically revealed all his secrets onto editing all this stuff and how he spreads the news. And he basically says what the algorithm is basically saying. The algorithm likes negativity, which is a sad truth for basically YouTube and possibly Instagram, TikTok, and all that stuff. Basically, it has an algorithm. You need the negativity to get more likes. therefore people are liking your videos, and of course you have to stay in that way for the most part. It's all about storytelling, and that's also true for what the news outlets, for some news outlets like specifically Fox or CNN, they would usually like just give you the whole thing, but just kind of turn it into a story of sorts, which is why I would prefer neutral news stations, like for the most part. Technically speaking, CNN is going a bit more on a neutral side at this point, but it's still pretty much left, and Fox is still Fox. It goes to the right. Even shows that are specifically from Fox make fun of Fox because of this, and they're none the wiser. Either way, yeah, Disney basically kind of calls all the news stations or even the influencers who are basically lying on anything, just call them out for this. It's funny, but it gets really uncomfortable because it gets a bit too real, which usually for shows I don't mind realism, but this does seem a bit too real and too grounded for its own good. And the next day, he realized he loses all his follower base because he got called out on Twitter.com. Just kidding. He got called out on NBC, basically. The French version of NBC, who knew? But like, yeah, after revealing his trickery onto how he lies on all the news, everybody hates him, and now he lost his follower base. You know the drill. Gets akumatized. Any influencer ever. And he becomes the reflector or the something. I said it earlier. I forgot the name. His villain name is the same as the title. But all you need to know about his power. Okay, so here's the thing. The one thing, his power makes sense for the terms of the video and the episode. I said episode, not this video, but the episode. However, I could think of at least 1 or 2 villains that have that exact same power. His power is that if it hits somebody, their secrets will be revealed. Technically, it's just 1. Technically, just 2. That's what I meant. But there's only 1 who does this already. But he just shoots an eyeball, they spit out an orb, and you can touch it. No matter what happens, no matter if whatever intention it is, once you touch it, you know their secret, basically. But Rena Rouge and Ladybug are here to basically stop him, and I'm gonna say this might be maybe one of the best fighting scenes the show has to offer. Not show you guys the original clip because, like from the very first review for this episode when I did it, Disney copyrighted, so I can do screenshots. So yeah, sorry about that. Oh, and Cat Noir is also here. He arrived a little late, but let me tell you, the animation for the fight scene for at least a couple of seconds is really good, and continuing on, it's super fluid. As I said before, the fight scenes are super good in this season. So the thing is that he actually did hit Ladybug Cat Noir at first, and for Cat Noir it was Secret Identity. For Ladybug, well, let's just say that for at least for Cat Noir, he was able to destroy it, but he does see the secret, meaning that no matter what the intention is, even with the Cataclysm power to instantly destroy stuff, you are able to still see the secret. Now, Rena Rouge basically picks up the real one here. She makes clones so that the villain doesn't know which one is real. However, both Ladybug and I think Cat Noir basically want her not to touch it, but she did not listen. And the secret that she now knows is that Ladybug kept the secret to Adrian, and Marinette kept the secret to Adrian, that Hawkmoth is Gabriel. She's shocked about this. And while Cat Noir is worried that it was a secret identity, Ladybug knows what it truly was, and yeah. And then Rena Rouge basically gone off to a crash out of sorts because this lie was just kind of hurting Adrian and her, and she's not telling the truth. And it's up to Adrian if he wants to know the truth or not. And of course, Adrian deserves to know the truth, yada yada yada. Something that we kind of knew already from episode 7 and technically 5. And I have a few things to say for Alya here, but there's no time for that. Basically, after that girl talk and more, realized that, it was just illusions. Marinette apologizes that it was just needed so they can be a sneak attack instead. Rena Rouge hopes that Cat Noir is right because a few seconds ago, the Miraculous Ladybugs could actually fix this and could actually erase what the secret she saw, so erase her memory of the secret. And it does not work because it's not destroyed. And Cat Noir realized that makes sense. The Miraculous Ladybugs is creation, not destruction. So Cat Noir has an idea, but he is a little afraid what would happen to it. But Ladybug does trust him. So the power that Cat Noir is going to try to do is use Cataclysm to basically erase the memory. As I maybe said before, or maybe I forgot. Because I'm kind of thinking of like the old recording I am doing. Ladybug basically said that Cat Noir can just believe that he can actually do this, and that his power can still evolve. It's not the end of it. And again, she believes him. And Cat Noir, doing his best, tries to basically replicate Cat Noir is trying to replicate Marinette's Miraculous Ladybugs with his Cataclysm. And this basically opens a whole can of worms, because this would imply that every Miraculous holder has... this opens a whole bag of worms, whole can of worms, because this implies that Cat Noir and every other Miraculous holder has a Miraculous insert their name here. So Miraculous Cat Noir, he calls it. And the charge up is actually pretty spectacular. He kind of is pulling off of Baby Vegeta here to kind of like the Revenge Death Ball move. He uses his Cataclysm board. So basically, all this implies that he can make projectiles of Cataclysm, meaning that we are very much closer to Cat Blanco, that what if version of Cat Noir. We are very close to it. Also, this is where the power scaling is implied to be pretty impressive, and of course his moveset is expanding because it's not just touch, he can now shoot his power as a projectile with Miraculous Cataclysm. The opposite of Miraculous Ladybug, where anything that touches, it would destroy, but he would have to think of what to destroy, which is good because he's targeting Alya. His plan? To erase the secret that Alya knows is to basically hit her with a Cataclysm to a point where it is only at a subconscious level of memory, just to delete the memory, and that's it. At least with the Kumatization person. But it is implied that he can actually do this once there is no Kumatized person around, because Ladybug picks everything. So he can activate this at any time using Cataclysm. Miraculous. Cat Noir. It successfully hit Alya. She is still alive. And she does not remember the memory. She does remember everything, just not the memory or the fights at all. So anything that happened with the villain, she just does not remember. She remembers transforming and fighting with Ladybug, but that's about it. So she has context clues that she did actually help the heroes, she just does not remember the whole confrontation. And that includes the secret of Marinette from Adrian. Unfortunately, it kind of also implies that now the new Hawkmoth knows about that little secret. Or does she? Or does Ududa? I'm just lying, they don't, but it's just more of a metaphorical thing. I don't know why I have a hard time saying that. Marinette is a bit down, but Alya does basically comfort her. And like Din said at the beginning of the episode, which I did not say, she's a living lie detector. She knows what people are lying. And unfortunately, this is more true. After having a good time with Marinette and the others, before the end credits, we have this last scene where Alya looks at a picture of her and Marinette and wondering what is ailing Marinette at this point. Because again, she does not have the memories for it. And overall, that is the end of the episode. So, Yeah, that's again the episode. So my thoughts about it. Let's cut to the chase. It's a 6 out of 10 episode. It's pretty good. The animation is always spectacular. The fight scene is much more better, and at least kind of makes up for the questionable decision from the last episode I reviewed, which was episode, I believe, 7. And yeah, so the reason why it's a 6 is because, well, this is technically the first Miraculous episode that takes a stance on a real world issue in a way, in terms of social media. And while they did a pretty good job at least showing both sides and the truth about the people who actually do fake news, the problem is technically Alya and what she represents. Because while truth is important to her, the thing that I have a problem with is basically kind of everything in the episode. It's implied that she does know, thanks to the episode and its context, that she will actually kind of do little white lies, and she accepts that lying has a time and a place, and if it can actually help people, or at least help others in a way. So but looking into this context here, and then the context of their little bickering here kind of contradicts herself, as in a way this protects Adrian because this would devastate him, and Adrian does look up to the father, yada yada. You know the drill, and we all know the context of Adrian. But it seemed that Alya seems to be, while reasonably angry, she should know about this, and while this secret was kept from her, that's not the point. While she is upset that this was kept a secret to her, it was more upsetting that it was kept secret to Adrian. Now, Ladybug is the guardian, and technically speaking, this is a promise to Gabriel, which, in the terms of this episode, Alya does not know. Ladybug could tell the truth, but it seems like she did tell the truth off screen, which is why Alya is a bit more reasonable here, but she's still upset, which begs the question, should she break a promise to basically tell Adrian about the truth about Gabriel? And that is the biggest question. And I feel like Alya should understand this a bit more. However, we do actually get to see the outcome. Since Alya's memory is basically erased from that secret, and now talking about it, if Ladybug ever actually officially tells the real truth about the secret that she kept hiding from Adrian, Alya would actually have, at this point now, a better understanding than the surprise, because now she's up to it, and now, thanks to the end of the episode, she kind of understands that being the guardian, again, if this secret is very big, it must be a burden on her, and must be a reason to keep things in order, and at least normalcy, because as the good job of guardian, you're supposed to have everything at least in working order, as things should be, in a way. But that's all my thoughts about the episode. It's a 6 out of 10 because the way how they have to treat with Alya is a bit weird, so to speak. But it's also just because I didn't really touch much of it. But going through a hot social topic, which is like bad influencers, fake news, and stuff like that, while they did a good job, it seems that their main person, which is Alya, seems to have a thing for the truth and nothing but the truth, yet the character kind of does these little white lies to protect others, which is good. So she does know, but it does seem like she kind of missed a few steps here and there, obviously, and not too understanding. I guess it was just because of the shock, but I don't know. And while I do want to talk a little more about it, I think that's all the time I will have to put up, because for one thing, I don't know why, but my words are a little more harder to actually pronounce a bit, so maybe I'm just a little tired. But it's also just a topic that I don't want to get too into, because this whole thing is also its own controversy, and I'm surprised that Disney tried to do this, but MiraculousLadybug isn't one that actually takes a hot social topic. It's the one that actually goes through a topic of the more personal level, like technically love, but also like morality of like truth, lies, or decisions, family, all that stuff. Basically, the more personal, simple things, not like social things. And while it is a decent start, it does have some pitfalls, and they actually have to break at least one character's consistency, which is technically Alya, anyway. But it does show us some good spectacles. Maybe in a good day it's a 7, but I think it's a hard 6 out of 10 for this episode. Now, unless the previous episodes say anything about it, this is where I'm going to leave it off as. Until then, my name is Poe, and I'll see you guys for the final episode that's currently been released at the time of this recording, episode 13. There is no 12. Yeah. Oh yeah, and before anything, that little joke about like Tommy Innit or Jake Paul, technically that's a joke just for satire. I don't think there is a situation for it, but technically there's a time and a place, and I think for Tommy it was like a few years ago. Last year and a half. I don't know. That's all. Those jokes were satire.